So West Nile virus activity in general in California, in 2005 was the big year. We had 880 cases. Here in Sacramento, we had 179 cases. So we're very concerned in terms of West Nile virus activity, which is why we had, in certain situations, had to resort to the aerial applications as a part of an integrated mosquito management program.
How you guys doing this evening? I come up here with a very heavy heart, and this is no disrespect to the speaker, but we're discussing spraying poison over our city, and this is in defense of a disease that's not really threatening our life or our ability to pursue happiness, and it's without consent of your constituents. Now, these constituents depend on each one of you to defend them against things like this and to educate yourselves so that when these decisions come before you, that you can stand up for them. And right now, I don't see that happening. I don't quite understand, based on what he was showing, that West Nile is increasing, or where they're finding West Nile is increasing, even though they sprayed this year. And I'm guessing it's probably 90 to 95% of the population has no clue that they're doing this. And I understand he's displaying public outreach, what the public can do to defend against this. But the general public is unaware of this, and the general public depends on each one of you to educate yourselves and defend us against things of this nature. And I would hope that you guys would consider this when they come to you and say, "Oh, we're spraying this and we're doing that and everything's okay," that you would have questions and concerns for your constituents.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and council members. My name is Kim Glaser, and I'm Director of Organic Sacramento. While the council composition has changed over the last 10 years, there are those of us who have been coming and speaking up at city council meetings for at least 10 years to express our opposition to the random spraying of pesticides over these vast areas in Sacramento and Yolo counties. As Mr. Goodman recently stated, ground fogging is not an effective method of mosquito abatement due to houses and other obstacles and obstructions. But then how can aerial spraying be any more effective when Sacramento, known as the City of Trees, has a natural canopy greatly reducing the effective targeting of adult mosquitoes? Instead, the district should be putting its resources into effective and robust larviciding and public outreach strategies. There are other cities who have done that. Washington, D.C. did that early on. It's not necessary that we spray vast areas of the population with dangerous pesticides. In fact, the past 10 years of aerial pesticide spraying has actually created greater health hazards and risk for people in Sacramento. The district has stepped up its risk over the past 2 years by now spraying with organophosphates, which are considered to be carcinogenic. In fact, 2 of the ingredients in the trumpet that is sprayed are listed in Prop 65 as carcinogenic. So we are now in a situation where the supposed remedy for a problem that really doesn't exist, 10 years later, it doesn't exist. As you see, the populations, what's being suggested as the population of infections by people is greatly reduced. It's 3 in Sacramento. That doesn't make an emergency.
So
I realize my time is up. I ask that you please step up for the people of Sacramento, and you ask that your representative, Dave Tamayo, take more effective measures in mosquito abatement.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and Council members. My name is Victoria Davi, and I'm here to express my concerns about the Mosquito Vector District's practice of aerial spraying dangerous pesticides over large urban populations. Not only is aerial spraying the least effective method of eradicating the mosquito populations, but in fact it is not effective. Over the past 10 years, we have not seen an effective solution to this problem, or we wouldn't continue to spray. It is also killing bees and other beneficial insects. It's impacting the, general public, through the spraying. People are not notified. They have, homegrown gardens. There are things that are being impacted that no one takes into consideration by, spraying large, areas. When this program began in 2005, it was promoted that it would only last for a period of 2 years. It's now been almost 10 years with, excuse me, but I think the data supports itself that it's almost the same exact results. So there's something wrong with what we're doing. We're expending a great deal of funds on something that has not proven its effectiveness. But you are harming the American public. So I think, or I'm asking you please to take that into consideration, and I want to go on record very strongly that I oppose the continuing of this, vector spraying.
Hi, my name's Deborah DeRozier. And forgive me because I'm going to name some chemicals that I can't pronounce that I shouldn't be subject to be sprayed with. The organic phosphate insecticide that's being used to abate the termites, the mosquitoes, is called Trumpet. Its hazardous ingredients in Trumpet include nalid, dichlorovos, naphthalene. The material data safety sheet on Trumpet clearly states that under state regulations, California Proposition 65, that this product contains chemicals known to the state of California to cause cancer. Under federal regulations, the Superfund Amendments and Reauthorization Act, or SARA Title III Data, Section 302, calls dichlorovos an extremely hazardous substance, and all three chemicals, nalid, dichlorovos, naphthalene, are listed as toxic chemicals. The Environmental Protection Agency often cites as approving the use of these organic phosphate Trumpet, but what we're not told is that the EPA only tests one chemical at a time. They're not testing these chemicals as used as a combination with each other. And the chemicals are used in a combination specifically because one chemical may enhance another. For example, butoxide is used as a synergist to amplify the effects of the organic phosphate compounds in Trumpet. The EPA's safety testing data provides a minimum threshold to avoid health hazards. It does not establish a standard in excellence in public health. Spraying has been going on for over 10 years. It's time to stop toxifying Sacramentans. I oppose mosquito spraying.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Radke, and I live in Sacramento. I am opposed to the spraying. I wish I had more statistics and time to present, but 1 out of 5 people has autoimmune disease, and that affects our lives daily. So spraying chemicals that we're not exactly sure are going to affect us or not affect us is wrong. If we cannot prove that they're non-toxic, they're not going to alter our lifestyle. I mean, people come to work with headaches, come to work with dizziness, vertigo. I mean, autoimmune disease is on the rise, and with all these chemicals in our environment, it's unsafe. So I completely oppose spraying when not even my neighbors don't know about the spraying. Nobody's really aware of what's going on. And until it's proven to be completely healthy and safe, I used to spray DEET, cover myself in DEET all the time as a backpacker, and now I can't do that anymore. So I think for the health of the environment and for the health of the people, we should stop spraying.
Good evening. My name is Julie Ostwich. I also oppose the spraying of pesticides. No matter how many assurances were given, pesticides are not safe. Spraying dangerous organophosphate pesticides, which are neurotoxins, over people where we live, play, eat, and sleep, it makes no sense. These repeated exposures are cumulative, and we're being exposed over and over, time and time again. Authorities claim it's just a little bit, and it's safe, and it's not going to cause you any harm. But even if you don't become acutely ill, The risk for developing serious illness later, like cancer, is very, very real. Each exposure adds to the toxic burden that affects all life and the environment. We poison everyone and everything with each application, doing more harm than good. The risk of contracting the severe form, the neurological form of West Nile virus, is extremely low, 1 out of 10,000 people worldwide. This is not an epidemic. It's grossly exaggerated and the public's being misled. 1 out of 3 people get cancer now. Why are we adding another risk factor instead of eliminating them? The vector district began spraying in 2005, and now it's 2014, and we're still spraying with more deadly chemicals than they originally started out with. They changed their criteria for spraying now. It used to be human cases, now it's number of infected mosquitoes. 2005 is also when we happen to see a decline in bee population as well as bats developing white nose syndrome. Researchers conclude that bats are definitely immunocompromised by these chemicals, and we believe that that is adding to the decline of bees and bats. So it's time to take a step back, stop this wasteful, unnecessary program that's not effective, and give it a break. Let's stop spraying over urban neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Hanson.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I just wanted to build a little bit on the comments of the Mayor Pro Tem. And first, thank you for your work. It's very important, especially given the risks of disease and the spread of disease by airborne insects in this particular case. But I also think that the point I want to make is whether it's vaccines or fluoride or spraying or some of these other things, public health isn't something that is always an easy goal to accomplish, and you're trying to provide widespread benefit to a community and a population, and not everybody will understand that. And I think that the most important thing that we can do, though, is these preventative actions. Certainly from a public health standpoint, this is one of the #1 interventions available, and may not, according to some of the public, be the best one, but we don't have a better alternative. And until we have a better alternative, I'm perfectly comfortable with aerial spraying. I do think that the comments about communication are extremely important, so people have an opportunity to take preventative action if they wish not to be exposed or they wish not to allow others to be exposed. But again, West Nile is a very serious disease, as are some of the others that are available to be spread by these airborne insects. And I just want to, again, come down as a council member on the side of public health, because we don't always get that strong voice, and I know that thus far this council has been very strong in supporting the work that you do and other agencies do to keep us healthy.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
Shut up, slave!